So back here in the episode of Indigo Podcast, and today the title of this episode is Seasons and Chapters. So recently, I found something new out that I kind of been disregarding this whole like cross country season into track season. That there's a possibility I could have been lifting too frequently, and I didn't really realize to make that change. I kind of made a change, which I think kind of caught me from maybe making too much damage in terms like maybe a plateau or just recovery. But just recently after, I think a lack of sleep could be a component of this, but after my last meet, I lifted the day after how I normally do. And I kind of felt some lingering like fatigue just going into this week. So I talked to my coach about it. I'm like, hey, like, should I reduce my frequency of lifting, especially going into district? Because honestly, a lot of marathoners and just runners in general, when they're in running prep, like a running season, which I am right now, I'm in track season, they dropped their strength training back. And my strength training was the same, if not more. Because at one point, I was lifting 5 days a week on my own and lifting 2 days in track period, which equals out to 7. And I didn't count that to be 7 because I'm like, that's track period. It doesn't count. But I mean, it counts with chest and leg volume, obviously. But I just disregarded that. And then I doubled it down to just 4 on my own and 2 in track period, which is still, I just got a notification my Instacart's on the way. Anyway, that was 4 on my own and 2 track period lifts, which equals out to 6, which is more than what I would typically do. The most I would do typically on my own is 5, but I didn't really notice that, and I kind of felt a little bit fatigue. Obviously could be due to sleep, but I also think maybe I've experienced 2 plateaus. Obviously it's not going to be a linear progression at times, but I experienced one recently. Obviously I explained that at 5'11", and then in cross country, I had kind of like a degression phase where I got like a little bit slower. It was kind of weird. So obviously poor sleep probably played a factor in that too. But just seeing other runners, that's like a common practice when they run. Like Nick Bear, for example, is one dude I listen to a lot. He's saying the first thing he does when he goes into a prep is I dial back my strength training. He said he dials back intensity and volume and frequency, and I ain't gonna lie, I did not do that at all. I kept it the exact same because, obviously sleep and nutrition can do enough, but I just think it's that systemic fatigue and central nervous system fatigue that builds up that when you're running, it kind of recognizes, oh, you're not fully recovered from your lifting. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still kind of learning. I ain't gonna lie, I still have kind of some maybe delusions of the fact that it's actually a real thing, because I ain't gonna lie, for so long I was just doing that and I didn't really pay it any mind. But then when I felt a little bit of fatigue and my lifts went down following that, and also I don't know why, but on my watch it says I'm strained and my HRV went down to like 120, which is very low. Maybe that's a sign. It's just everything's pointing to that, because literally that's the only other thing I do other than running right now. I weight train obviously. Typically I didn't like on my own it was 4 and then 2 with track period included. But yeah, some days I do doubles. I would do a workout or a long run progressively, or an easy run, just big mileage. I'd lift in track period. You're doing pretty aggressive bench press incline and all that. Then I'd go do a double, shoulders back and biceps. Now obviously I can sustain that, but is it ideal? And I can control doing potentially less and getting, because the thing is, I think if I do less of lifting and keep the running the exact same, I feel like I'll see more benefits in both. Because this week I'm lifting 4 days. Today is the day before the time trial, the mile time trial. You'll see a vlog for that coming out soon, but it'll have already come out once you see this episode, because I'm recording this a week in advance. But I was gonna hit pool today, but I was thinking, spent a little bit too long doing research on it. But I'm like, hey, because I normally, like, typically if I had like a clean slate, I probably wouldn't put that the day before a meet, because obviously it's I'm going for a big PR. So should I lift pool the day before? Because I don't really like reducing intensity that much. So should I do that? I'd probably be better off just getting my steps in. And obviously I ran this morning, logged 4 miles with some strides. So pretty much the way I switched it. I'm not trying to get too deep into a synopsis, but I'm just giving some context. And honestly, I just wanted to be real, because I just experienced that this morning and just the past few days. But I think it's perfect with seasons and chapters, because I've been in this big season and I wasn't really prioritizing the main thing, running. I was trying to prioritize running and lifting. Now, obviously, lifting should be a priority when you're, a runner. You should strength train at least 2 times a week, a minimum, in my opinion. Really 3 to 4, in my opinion, if you're more of like I guess, a bodybuilding-esque hypertrophy, trying to maximize muscle growth type dude. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't really prioritizing running, and I just think this is the point where I could catch it. I think during cross country season, I don't think like my coach really noticed too much, and I was doing I was dropping time every meet. I kind of hit a plateau, and I don't think I ran as fast as I could at district, to be honest. And I just think I kind of caught it, and I think it's a sign. And I've never done it, and I think honestly I could get more benefit from it, especially with running, because obviously I want to run the fastest I ever have this season, and I feel like if I'm lifting as hard as I was, obviously it's just less frequent. I think I'll benefit more in terms of strength training and running, because this week, like I said, I'm running 4 days. So I changed today. If I don't change my mind, I might change my mind. Knowing me, I don't think so though, because I think the thing is the main priority is set. It's very obvious what I'm trying to do tomorrow. Hit a PR. And then after that, I'll hit legs, because obviously that's not really impeding the run because the run already happened. So today, the smartest thing to do, and just to make sure that there's no type of, it's no if, ands, or buts. I'm fully ready to go tomorrow. It's no question, because that's the main priority, and it's a full week, So tomorrow I'll hit legs. Then Friday, because the thing is, Monday I was coming off of kind of the fatigue, so I wanted to give myself like a day of recovery, because I lifted 3 days in a row before that. So I wanted Monday to be a day of recovery going into the week. So I lifted Tuesday, looking like I'm gonna just get my steps in. When I go to the gym with my mom, I'll just walk on a treadmill for an hour or so. And then tomorrow after that, I'll hit legs. Since it's a faster day, I want to put my leg day on the same day as that. Friday, just an easy run, so I'll put pull on that day. Saturday, I have a long run, progressive run. I'll put full body on that day, because I'm doing push-pull legs full body, if you were wondering. That's the only way. It's honestly the same thing. It's just I just spread out my volume a bit differently. I increased the sets on some exercises, just so I can get at least around 10 sets per muscle group each week for right now. Because obviously after this week, it's going to start tapering with the rest of the taper in terms of running leading into the district. So next week, I'll do 3 days. Instead of this week, it's 4 days. So it'll be 4-3-2. Then the week of district, whatever we're doing in track period, I'll just do that. And following that, I'll ramp lifting up either four or 5 times a week. It depends on how I like. Honestly, I might do 4 days for a couple weeks and go back up to 5. I don't really know. But it's going to be 4 to 5, something like that. But anyway, other than that big synopsis about just what I'm doing right now, I'm going to get into a few things, just talking about seasons and chapters, because I've been experiencing, obviously this is a big chapter in my life. It's my last season in high school, and I don't want it to go to waste. I want to see, and I want others to see, so I can prove to them you can do anything you're consistent with. I want to, see the fruits of my labor, and I feel like if I'm lifting that frequently, I don't feel like I'm fully seeing that. And I feel like that's probably one of the things that's been holding me back from, because the thing is, the workouts, I'm hitting the splits. I just feel like I could run a bit faster. Like, I don't even think it's a mental thing. I just think maybe physically I might be a bit more fatigued than I can see, because obviously you can't see systemic fatigue, So anyway, other than that long explanation, first thing I kind of want to go over is prioritizing the focus. So basically, like, what is the main goal of this chapter? What do you want to get out of it? And what has to shift in order for it to be prioritized? So obviously with the strength training thing, I feel like going from 4 down to 3 down to 2, and then, completely tapering the week out from district. The week of, excuse me. I just think that's prioritizing the main thing, obviously, because the season I'm in is track season. It's not lifting season, and particularly it's track season, which obviously the main thing should be running as fast as you can and progressing and being consistently good with that. And I just feel like for a long time, because during cross country season, I was lifting 5 times a week. I would go lift the day of, my cross country meet, and a 5K is pretty demanding, and I was doing that pretty much every week. And the thing is that I think I realized is I didn't lay out the landscape of the season for real. I didn't really put in perspective what I'm getting into. I would just kind of do it. Obviously I'd be aware and very intentional, but I wasn't fully aware of what was going on, like the wear and tear on my body, because obviously I think I can recover from a lot, but I think at certain times it might have diminishing returns. Obviously I saw from the lingering fatigue, lifting after the meet, and then just feel wise I felt kind of off. Obviously sleep could play a role, but even after that I bounced back with sleep and I still felt kind of the same, which is kind of weird. So I just think I didn't realize you're pretty much doing an all-out time trial, either one or two every week, pretty much. Like, because the only break of a time trial we had was the week it got canceled. We still did another workout, but like that fatigue adds up. Your body keeps stock of it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and put out big efforts. I'm just saying you should recover just as much as you train hard. That's all I'm trying to say. The thing is, if you're not recovering, you can't fully see all the fruits of your labor and all the consistent bricks you stacked, And I just feel like I was accumulating fatigue with running, and I was accumulating fatigue with the lifting. Because at one point, before like I started like doing my research on RIR and intensity, I was going pretty much. At one point, all my sets were to failure. And I started doing, 0 reps in reserve, last rep failure. Now, if I have 3 sets, I'll do 1 RIR, then failure. And I just realized over time, that fatigue adds up. Your body keeps stocking. Your body's fully aware of what you're doing, even though in your mind, like it's not that serious. But at a certain point, I think if you I'm hypothetically speaking, I don't know. Well, let's say I kept it at 6 days a week. I just kept going with that. I don't know if I'd fully see the potential at district. I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. And this isn't a message to say you shouldn't put out big efforts. It's just, like I said, it's to be cognizant of your effort and your recovery. Because I think like one of the biggest things, the only two things I could say that was hindering my performance at all, if even, sleep and I'd say recovery, like fatigue management. Because like I'd lift after big efforts, I would, at one point I was doing doubles. Now that's a whole different thing. That was kind of before the season started, so that's okay in my opinion. But I just think, let's say you're lifting really hard and I just didn't realize that during this type of season where running is the priority, you need to scale back other parts of your training. You need to scale it back so that part can shine. I think this applies to any chapter in life. You need to maybe, I guess, not mitigate, but reduce certain things in your life. Like maybe reduce the amount of time you're on TV, reduce the amount of time that you go out to drink, or reduce the amount of time that maybe you go to work. Maybe you schedule more vacation time. I have no idea. You just, basically the point is, I'm trying to say you're going to scale something back so you can scale something up in terms of that season, what the priority is. And obviously in terms of me, scaling back strength training to four times a week this week from typically 5, and I'm tapering with the taper, so it's tailored to my running, And I think you can get benefit. I feel like if you prioritize the shift or the focus, it allows you to prioritize both in a way. It allows you to balance. Obviously, life isn't balanced, but it allows you to gain benefits from both, and it kind of complements what the focus is, So first thing, prioritizing the focus. I just feel like I didn't do that for so long. I was trying to, because the thing is, I'm very stubborn. So I'm like, I'm about to go harder running. I'm about to go harder lifting, and it's just going to have to work. And I just did that for a very, 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 very long time. I didn't really realize that. I think maybe this is a sign when I felt a bit of fatigue, and it kind of made me think of it because the day before, my coach's husband was like, hey, have you considered dialing back your lifting a bit? And I'm like, no. Because they were seeing my plateau for a little bit. Obviously, I broke the plateau. Thank God I did. But for so long, obviously the only thing I really progressed in was the 2 mile the first time I ran it, and the 800 the first time I ran it. Now my season hasn't been bad at all, but I just think that could take me even further potentially. So just him mentioning it, and then me kind of looking twice at it and just kind of noticing some things on the way I felt, and then even my coach being like, hey, that's probably a good idea. And seeing other runners like Nick Bayer, he's a stud, he gets after, he's kind of similar to me in a way, I guess. I don't know him personally, but just, I guess we kind of think the same in a way. He even pulls back. So I'm like, am I doing something wrong here? Like, am I potentially leaving something on the table? And if I am, I'm the only one that can change it. No one can be like, oh, you should stop lifting. You should lift a little bit less so you can I have to do that. You have to be, all right, I have to stop being stubborn. I have to stop being so narrow-headed. I have to make the change. No one else is going to do it, You have to be responsible enough because, it might seem like you're doing a bit left and you're soft and, you're kind of weak and you're like, you should be doing the maximal amount of effort and putting all the work and the hours in, you know what I'm saying? But yes, but within reason. You have to recover, you know what I'm saying? And you have to prioritize what the shift is and what the focus is at that point in time. So that's pretty much what I've learned. Hopefully that can help y'all whatever y'all are dealing with. And for me, this is running. And I think maybe with the time trial tomorrow, maybe it's not the smartest thing to lift, because when I lift, I'm going to lift. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it'd probably just be smarter to put it after and just make sure we're primed for it and just get some extra active recovery in. The next thing I want to go over is just being okay with change. And I think this just comes with, like I said, just being stubborn with previous norms, habits, just the way you've done things. I think with me, like with the whole lifting thing, I was so used to, I'm going 5 days a week. And that's cool. It shows I can hold a standard, and I know I can, but maybe that was to my detriment in a sense, because I was neglecting obviously what season and chapter I'm in. I just think a lot of times it's as humans, it's kind of human nature in the sense if you get stuck in it. Obviously you can change it, but we get stuck in habits and routines, and we neglect the responsibilities we have. And my responsibilities obviously, taking care of my nutrition, my recovery, hitting the workouts the best I can, and establishing the priority. And I don't think I really did. I was just doing, obviously the standard I set with running and lifting, and I still am, but in a different way, in a more smart way, and in a way that prioritizes the thing that's right in my face right now. Obviously I'm in track season, and, like I said, I just didn't really acknowledge that, and I didn't really know that was a thing, and just being okay with the fact that you didn't know. Because I could sit here and be like, oh, maybe if I didn't lift as much, maybe I would have performed better in cross country. Like, that was a thought that occurred. Like, maybe if I didn't lift them as much, I would have performed better in cross country season. Maybe I wouldn't have been in that plateau for two meets or whatever. Maybe I would have ran faster. But I think that puts it into perspective even more. You see, okay, you made these missteps, and this is the chance to actually make a change, because it could have been potentially worse. Maybe I just kept it the same, and I hit another plateau, maybe just prevented the whole thing. I can't see the future. I don't know. I can just control what I can. And this is an instance of me actually being able to change something, and actually being able to double down on what the purpose is of me even doing this thing, which the main goal is to run a sub 5 mile. And very, very high possibility it could happen tomorrow. If I keep my sleep in check, obviously nutrition's in check, I'm not worried about that. Just making sure I'm straight for tomorrow, hit the strides, hit the run. It should all be, hit the training. It's very, very possible tomorrow. And obviously by this time you already know. I don't know yet, but you'll already know. So anyway, I think the biggest thing here is just being stubborn and not being open to letting a couple things go, not stopping doing them. That's a whole different thing, which I'll get into later. Not completely stopping doing them, but like you're pulling back a bit. You're taking 3 steps back. You're taking 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. That's what I'm doing in a sense. I'm taking a little bit of a step back with lifting. Obviously, still intentional with that, but taking a step back so I can take a step forward with running, and honestly take a step forward with both. And just being okay with that, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of difficult, because I don't really like pulling back in terms of like fitness, but I think it might have to be done for just the thing is, the also thing with seasons, it's a period of time. You're doing this for a finite period of time to really optimize your results, and then after the fact you go back up maybe in strength training, kind of go on a maintenance phase, and then you build onto it the next prep. So it's also realizing that it's not forever. You're just doing that for just a finite period of time, so you can prioritize one thing. Then when you get out of it, you can go back up. And in my case, strength training, maybe you could go back up in volleyball or basketball. So obviously, if you're in track season, you're probably not going to play volleyball as much because you're in track season, All right, so the next thing I want to go over is just effort and energy. It kind of just goes with prioritizing the focus. And I think the main thing here is just being aware of where you're putting effort and energy during a specific chapter. That was a mouthful of words, but I think effort and energy is very important, because I feel like a lot of times people put their effort or energy into the wrong things and worry about the wrong things, and it honestly takes away from being present in that chapter and season. And I feel like maybe in a sense, I don't think it took me away, but I think with lifting, like I didn't fully, like I said, prioritize the thing at hand. I just think I was putting my energy elsewhere instead of putting my energy more in recovering. Maybe so, but I just think you have to really, because the thing is, when you're in a prep, I like the way Nick Bear put it, and he was saying, when he's in a prep, you won't catch him doing a high rocks workout. You won't catch him on the bike, really. You won't catch him swimming. His lifting will be a little bit reduced. It's because he's going all in on the goal at hand, which for him in this case is running, I believe, a 2:30 marathon. So I think in this case, like in terms of me, I didn't fully do that, and I think that's a good approach. And I just didn't really know. I was kind of naive to the fact that I thought maybe if you kept intensity the same and volume the same in lifting, you could balance it out. But really, it might catch up to you, and it might, cause you to plateau or whatever. But I don't want to go too deep into this section, but the main thing I want to kind of go over is, well, not even go over, but mention is just being aware of where you're putting your effort and being aware of where you're putting in your energy, and really doubling down on that just for that chapter. And then once the chapter's over and you're fully present there, and you go as hard as you can, not in every asset, obviously, with the thing you're prioritizing, and you I guess make it well known, in the grand scheme of things, what you're trying to get out of, and you're kind of, I guess, balancing things out as best as you can. Obviously, things won't be 100% perfect, and they don't need to be to see results, and be present in that moment, and gain evolution. Yeah, I just think effort and energy, where you put the effort and energy is very important. If you put it in the wrong places, you probably won't go as far as you could have. Now, obviously, there's a, it can't be perfect, like I said, but I feel like a lot of things are in our control than we realize, and I feel like we should double down on that. But next thing I want to go over is recovery. This could be either mentally or physically, especially after a big season or chapter, and just being a bit more sustainable with it, and especially after big track preps and big race preps or whatever. Because I think a lot of people, especially if you want to get after it, you don't really want to give yourself a long time of recovery after a big race prep or a big track season. Because a lot of people, a lot of runners I don't be on TikTok like that, but I've seen like Rob Hoop is a notable one. He was saying how the dreadful 2-week break after track season, and it's 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, I want to run, and you're just sitting for 2 weeks not running. Now, obviously, you should bike, you should go for walks, play basketball, obviously do other modes of light intensity cardio that kind of, I guess, quote unquote, make up for the running. But giving giving yourself a chance mentally and physically to recover and be ready to go on to the next thing you want to go on to, and just giving yourself a chance to sit with what you did and what you accomplished, and what potentially was holding you back from it, and what you didn't catch, because you can't catch everything. And I feel like if you do, you try to, meticulously plan out everything, honestly, it takes out the fun of it in a sense, because it's kind of, obviously, you want to change things that honestly are unbeneficial and potentially detrimental, but at the same time, it's kind of unique because it's unique to that prep. You're like, oh, that prep, I'd maybe lifted a little bit too hard, so this prep I'm gonna pull back to it. And then if you see the results, like, oh, you can kind of compare the prep. So I feel like with this one, maybe when I decrease lifting a little bit eventually, which is gonna be a sad day, I'm not gonna lie, the lifting 3 days a week, what is that? I don't know. It hasn't clicked yet, but I want to do it because I want to see the results, and I want to actually run as fast as I can come district. But at the same time, it's like, it's that lifting part of me, because I love lifting so much. I'm like, that just hurts my soul. Like 3 days, like, obviously I know it's not the end of the world. I'm still going to be maintaining my strength, because you can maintain strength off of, really, honestly, if you go to the gym once a week or twice a week consistently, it's not ideal at all. But that's all you can do. You can maintain, if not build a bit of muscle off of that, if you do it consistently. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic, but it just looks weird on paper, because I'm like 3 days going from 5 days, typically 4 to 5 days, to 3, then down to 2 the week before, and then the week of, I have no idea what we're doing. So it's kind of like you're worrying a little bit, but hey, you just gotta, I trust my coach, and I know she, knows me pretty well, and she knows what's best for me, and I trust her. So I gave her the idea. If it really was a bad idea, I'm sure she'd be like, hey, you should just keep lifting that same amount, and I just know, whenever a plan is set out, I'm going to do it exactly how it's set. Obviously, there might be some small changes, but, I'm gonna do it regardless, and I feel like I'll see the benefits, and I just think sometimes you gotta chill out a little bit, just let it happen. Like kind of how I said in the last episode, you have to, when a plan is set in place and you know what's best for you, you can't keep, oh, am I gonna? Because I kind of tend to do it sometimes. You're like, oh, should I switch this? Oh, should I lift anywhere? Oh, just the plan, what the hard right is. And I think in this situation, the hard right is decreasing the amount of lifting to prioritize running, which sounds backwards. Like you'd be like, shouldn't the hard, like, shouldn't that be the easy wrong for people? Because a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, I'm getting less volume. I'm not saying like everyone's like that. Some people are like, oh, I'm getting less, so like, yay, I don't have to do as much. But for people that are, I guess, more ambitious and they want to get after more, it's kind of reversed. You see like a lot of athletes going to a taper. They're like, oh, I'm losing all my fitness. I'm soft. Like, bro, I need to go run an ultra marathon to make up for this. But in reality, no, you're just shifting the priority, and you're shifting the momentum to something to help you succeed in the long run, And I just think recovery is a big part of that. Tapering, reducing volume, reducing intensity, and after the fact, when the prep is done, and giving yourself the time mentally and physically to be like, hey, this is what I did, this is what I accomplished, this is what I need to work on, and just giving your body a time to acclimate and recover after. Because the thing is, I didn't think about it, but if you think about it, every week you're pretty much doing a time trial, like a all-out effort every week, if not twice. Because for me, I run an 801 mile typically, so you're doing that 2 events in one day, plus a workout, plus the long run. Your body remembers, your body keeps receipts. So I think after that, doing that over and over and over, like a split week period of time, your body needs to recover, and your body needs to, readjust and then come back stronger after the fact. But last thing I kind of want to go over is maintenance and evolution. And I think the big thing not to do, because I see a lot of people do this during like spring break or winter break. I'm speaking more for like people in my camp, like runners or just people in general, like that, work out or train during these like breaks or the holiday. Obviously, it might look a little bit different. Some people like to pull back a bit on the holidays. I'm not gonna lie, me personally, I kind of just keep it the same. Maybe not put lifts on certain days if I know we have a function or something. So to each their own, but it's not a time to, be stagnant and pull back and just lose all the fitness you built. No, I would disagree. Like, obviously you want to give yourself time to recover, but after that, slowly ramp up mileage and slowly ramp up your lifting, if not more, because obviously during the quote unquote off season, I know a lot of athletes want to get stronger, so lifting a bit more could tailor to that. Obviously, implementing strength and hypertrophy, and obviously not going peak week mileage, obviously, but having a sustainable amount of mileage. Like for me, that'd probably be 20 to 25 miles a week or so, like after the track season. So just not being stagnant after the recovery phase and building onto what you spent time building, because obviously you don't want to waste what you built all that time. Obviously, it's not going to be as intense or as voluminous. That's a word, but it's going to be a bit different, but the principle still stays the same. You're staying consistent and you're staying disciplined and you're still holding on to all the fitness you built. Obviously, you're not in peak shape, but you're still maintaining. You're still in the maintenance phase, and you could do pretty well in a race. And obviously not maybe to that standard because you're not in a prep, but you could still put out a pretty good effort. But anyway, another long episode. I ain't gonna lie. Lately, I've just been yapping about more stuff recently because a lot of stuff's been on my mind, and I just want to, be authentic and be kind of, I guess, more vulnerable and just let y'all know what I'm dealing with personally, because I think a lot of people think they see people doing cool things and they see people, going for ultra marathons and mile races and 2-mile races or whatever, lifting, and they're like, oh, they're just robots. No, these people aren't robots. They're human just like you. Everyone deals with stuff. Everyone questions themselves at times. Everyone, goes through, I guess, dark times in a sense, but, you have to be real with yourself, be rational, and prioritize the shifts, prioritize the focus, prioritize what's in front of you. Because if you don't, you could have left some change on the table. So, I just want y'all to think about that, because honestly, I'm still thinking about that right now. I'm still processing that because it's a big change for me personally. It might not seem like that big of a change, like, bro, you're just changing your lifting, like, bro, like, worry about something else. But to me, it's very important. So that's why I'm like, it's a bit, harder to deal with, but I want to run faster. So think that's what we have to do. I mean, I'm seeing all the evidence is pointing to, okay, you need to reduce it a bit, and maybe even reduce intensity. So that's what the plan is. Right now we're doing 4 days. The week after we'll do 3. The week before we'll do 2. Then the week of whatever we do in the track period, I'll do that. And when district comes, just show what I got. But anyway, other than that long-winded episode, if y'all like the longer episodes, let me know. I'll keep just yapping, talking for longer. But anyway, that was episode 75, talking about just seasons and chapters. Just honestly, the main thing from this, if you want to take one thing away from it, just prioritize more prioritizing your main goals and prioritizing your anti-goals, things that are going to hinder your performance and hinder the goal at hand, and prioritizing both of them so you can assess, okay, what is my plan and what is my mode of action in the future. But anyway, that was episode 70. I was about to say 77. 2 more after this. Yes, 77. We're creeping up on 100. But anyway, episode 75. I'm crying. Seasons and cheaper. Bro, my English is terrible. I need to retake English because I can't speak for the life of me. Seasons and chapters. Finally knew how to speak. Anyway, that's the episode. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time.